What's good with it, YouTube? It's Coffee, tapping back in with an update, man. And this is quite the shocking news story here, as I have first seen this in the news about a year or so ago. A group that was made up of individuals who lost their loved ones on this horrific day. I think many of them, police and fire department and first responders, they had a group that they organized that was protesting this. As this had hit the news back then, I was hearing reports. The excuse that was being used was that they wanted to shut down Guantanamo Bay and they wanted to get these individuals' case over with or something like that. I don't know. I don't even know if Guantanamo Bay is still open or not, or whatever the case may be. But you see what it is, these three individuals. I'm not even going to try to pronounce their names. And quite honestly, like, why give their names any more headlines or whatever? It's on the screen if y'all want to read it. Three individuals that were said to be, involved in the planning. One considered to be the mastermind of that terrible day, 911. The one guy, the main one that keeps getting discussed the most in the news, his initials are KSM, was said to have pitched this plan to bin Laden back in the 90s. And, it was carried out some years later. And what was going on back then a year ago and now is said to be made official is that the feds, the authorities or whatever, are cutting a deal with these three individuals, offering them a plea bargain so there'll be no trial and they won't be put to death. I know the death penalty is a tricky thing. Some people support it, some don't. But I feel like when it comes to this situation, whatever side people stand on as far as the death penalty goes, many would say fluck it when it comes to these individuals, or maybe even not so. They're just so appalled that the U.S. is offering them any leniency at all in any way and giving them a plea bargain, as they'll just plead guilty to all the crimes that they're charged with and 2,976 counts of murder, and they'll just all be given life sentences. And quite frankly, I think it's some bullish, and I'm shocked by it that the U.S. would let up on these dudes at all in any way. Like, there's some reports saying that it's because if it were to go to trial, that the fact that they were, interrogated, questioned outside of the Constitution could make the trial get messy. Because if you are accused of an act of terror, you're not allowed the normal rights of a citizen. You don't have to get phone calls. You can be held in captivity. You can be interrogated outside of the Constitution, which is just more or less a fancy way of saying torture. I remember Snowden saying like he would come back to the US and face the music, face the legal system if he would know that he wouldn't be interrogated outside of the Constitution, but he knows that just will never happen. So he said fluck it, and he's staying wherever he is. It's wild with Snowden, leaking all that information out to the people, letting everyone know that we're being spied on, which I feel like most of us really knew anyways at the end of the day. But still, kudos to Snowden and good job. That's got to be scary as fuck, knowing that if you ever end up back in the US of A or they catch him, he's going to be tortured. He worked for him. He knows what it is, He risked his life and his freedom and all that. I wonder if he'll always just stay where he's at and they'll continue to give him asylum there. I don't know. But back to talking about these individuals, this has been playing out in the legal system for a long time. And I'm just shocked. Like, the families are upset. They don't want you giving any kind of leniency to these individuals. They took part in planning out a horrific event that killed a lot of people. They've been held all this time and outside of Guantanamo Bay. I guess they were also held in top secret CIA prisons, which I didn't even know was a thing. Comment and let me know if you already knew that existed, but I guess it doesn't really shock me, But it's come this far. Why not just push on with it and convict them? It just isn't really adding up, and it makes me wonder if any theories are coming out of the tinfoil hat community. Shout out to my guy Alan. He usually pops into my lives and keeps me up on all the latest news coming out of the tinfoil hat world, conspiracy theories and whatnot. But I remember back, like I said, a year ago when I was hearing of this in the news, this was on a pretty big media outlet, I believe. I can't recall exactly where I heard it, that the families of the victims were just so disgusted and so mad that, there was word that they didn't want this to hit court because there's sensitive info or compromising information or something like that that could get out there. And I don't know, I'm really hearing this has me wondering, is that what it is? Is there something else that will become public that they don't want the people to know? I just can't quite understand it. Like the fact that they were tortured or whatever. They're accused of terror. The US of A has prosecuted terrorists before, and that has happened to them when they were in custody and they were in question, and they went on with those legal proceedings and tried them if need be. Like, why is it so different in this instance? Why do they want these individuals to take this plea bargain? It just isn't really making much sense, It's not official yet. They've agreed on it that they're all going to plea out and get these life sentences and expected to go to down in court within a week or so. We'll have to watch this situation closely and see if there's any new developments and something changes. But if not, I gotta say, this is just shocking to me. Like, why? Why would they let up one bit and not hit them with the legal books as hard as they can, metaphorically speaking? Like, why cushion the blow one bit for some terrorists that carried out this horrific, terrible attack? Why? Comment and let me know what you think. Stay tuned for updates. Subscribe. Are you shocked? Are you appalled? Has this been something you have been hearing about and keeping your eye on as well? Like, are you just like, what the fuck? Like I am 23 years later here in 2024. I still remember that day, man. I was in a facility, kind of like a group home, something like that. And we were in school, and I remember they wheeled in the TVs on, like you have in school, those TVs on wheels. It was like, boom, turn the news on. Something horrible happened. An AIR plane crashed into the TOWER. We were all just like, what the fuck? And sat in shock and utter disbelief as another one hit. And, from that point on, we were watching the news for days, like a lot of other individuals out there probably were as well. Comment and let me know if you remember that day and your thoughts about this across the board. Like the video, subscribe, stay tuned for updates. If you're new, we talk all different topics over here, but does this piss you off? Do you not understand this? Does something not add up? Let's talk about it in the comments. Peace.